Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Hippolyte, and I am the operations manager at the Social Change Fund United. I'm excited to share more about our Gamechangers program that we are launching this year. And if you are seeing this, you are at one of our participating universities that we are working with for our pilot program. So moving on a little bit about the organization. The Social Change Fund United is actually launching this fellowship, and the Social Change Fund United is an organization launched last July 2020 by Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, and Dwayne Wade as a way to channel their frustrations from what was happening in terms of our country and the many lives that was taken at the hands of police brutality, and making sure that we were creating a sustainable fund that was supporting grassroots organizations working towards Black liberation. So a little bit about our founding members. These folks are founding members and they believe in the collective action guiding principle of the fund. They all have their individual philanthropic endeavors, but they really were adamant about making sure that they leveraged all of their collective platforms to create change. So also a part of our fund are these individuals. We have some WNBA representation through Natasha Cloud and Candace Parker, two folks that really use their platforms to speak out about the social injustices in our country, as well as CJ McCollum and Khris Middleton. This is our framework for how we have developed the fund. These are our 5 focus areas, and this Gamechangers program actually lands within our arts and education pillar. So we are going to be talking a little bit about the structure of the program, our timeline, and how to put forth the best application you can possible. So these are also our focus areas within our different pillars. And this is a little bit of the work that we've done. We have worked with different corporate partners to make sure we were providing supports to Black educators, as well as students of color through our back to school initiatives. We've also held HBCU rallies where we provided accurate voting information for Black, Brown, and youth voters, as well as exclusive partnerships with different folks to make sure we were getting rides to the polls, et cetera. We also have a revolving social justice grant program where we provide financial support as well as social amplification to 2 to 3 criminal justice reform organizations, specifically the Bail Project and the Equal Justice Initiative. We have renewal funding for these programs. So Gamechangers, that's why you all are here. So the Gamechangers program is specifically for student athlete activists or folks that are going into the sports and entertainment field. So that can be sports marketing, business, et cetera. We really want to create change in this field. We think that this space is incredibly influential, and we want to empower our young people and the next generation of activists with the skills they need to advocate on behalf of themselves and their communities. So at the conclusion of the fellowship, participants will have gained access to a network of other fellows through the program, as well as a grant for the community action project. These are the program details. So we will be selecting 5 to 10 fellows. So from each college, we're working with 3 to 4 colleges. So from each college, we're going to select 2 to 3 fellows. These students would be BIPOC sports affiliated college youth, or they're pursuing a career in sports management, business, or communications, or anything that's adjacent to that. We also have these students will need to be enrolled in one of the partner institutions that we're going to be working with for the implementation of this first pilot year. We're going to be extending that base after this first year. And then these folks would have demonstrated leadership and have already made a meaningful contribution to their community, or they're looking to do so through this program. And also willing to commit time for the fellowship programming. So we're going to be hosting social justice workshops, as well as trainings, and also different activations throughout the year. So we would want all of our fellows to also be able to commit to that time frame. And through the program, our participants will receive access to 3 to 4 social justice workshops, and these are organized by our nonprofit partners, community partners, insights from community leaders, social justice advocates, and activists, skill building opportunities. We'll have many trainings in addition to that. And we also work with different institutions that have other fellowship programs. So whenever it makes sense to cross-pollinate some of that programming, we will do so and share those opportunities for our fellows as well. And potential grant funding to support their community action projects. So each fellow will have a community action project that pertains to something within our pillars. For example, if you want to tackle providing some support for the homeless population within your community, you would create that community action project throughout the course of the social justice workshops, and then at the end have opportunity to get funding for that project. We also have opportunity stipend that is going to provide additional support for our fellows, as well as additional customized benefits throughout the programming year. We're starting off in the states of Arizona, California, and Oregon, with the idea that each of our, we have executive council representation in each of these areas. They play basketball, so we're really hoping that we can have in-person activations in that respect as well. So the application details, for completion of a Gamechangers application, you would have to provide general applicant info, demographic info, where you're going to school, as well as the degree you'll be pursuing. And in the professional statement, these are the 3 questions we ask for you to cover in 750 words or less, as well as some kind of verification of your enrollment at one of these institutions, and then a 3-minute video providing the answers to these 3 questions, in addition to a letter of reference. So the structure of the program, we're going to be having an inaugural launch. This is the majority of the programming will be taking place virtually, but we are hoping for our final presentation, we'll have the ability with COVID protections to have our final presentation in person. So the workshops are covering topics such as grassroots organizing, activism through storytelling, activism in the digital age. And then the final presentation would be the opportunity to secure grant funding for your project. These are some of the organizations we're working with for our programming, as well as to provide folks with some internship opportunities kind of at the end if they are looking to matriculate into that sports business profession. And this is a little bit of the timeline. The application is now open and it's going to the end of the month. Letters of recommendation are due December 1st. The selection process is happening in December, and then winners will be notified on a rolling basis. And the completion of the program will be between January and August. Great. So I'd love to take questions. If there are any questions pertaining to the program, we're going to be sharing this info session for all of our partners, since a lot of folks weren't able to attend today. But feel free to have any questions and ask them in the chat. So Dina, if you want, if there's anything I'm missing for this recording, I'm happy to add.
Great, and Joey's here. So I want to make sure, Joey, is there anything you want to say or contribute? This is all being recorded, and we're gonna post produce it and then put the link onto the onto both of, well, wherever we want. No, it'll certainly go on the CSU Entertainment Alliance website.
No, I'm good. I just wanted to hop on. My last meeting ran long, so.
No worries. I mean, Ashley did her thing. It was wonderful. Unfortunately, not that well attended, but that's okay, because then we can blast the link. And we can also get data on how many clicks, you know, hopefully like just start to really push it as part of the application process. And then we can have like the link to apply and all that good stuff, you know, right there on the website. Click here for the info session. I really liked it, Ashley. I thought it was short and sweet. You know, I don't think people necessarily want to watch, you know, a lot of videos. Sorry, like long videos. The question is, where would you like questions to be directed to?
Yeah, so we have an email that's specifically for the Game Changers program. So it's gamechangers@eifoundation.org, and that's also on the one pager. So if there are any questions, they can be directed to that email address. Also on the website, there are guidelines to the application, specifics about what we're looking for, as well as now access to this video. So I think all the information should also be there.
Awesome. All right. Anything else you want to add before we
No,
start?
we're just looking forward to working with our fellows, and we think it's going to be a really good opportunity for them to fine tune their activism skills.
Awesome. I'm wondering if I can just put something like pretend to be a student. Let's say I don't really have a project in mind. Would I be eligible to apply? It's just an idea. I haven't started it yet. Would I still be able to apply, or are you looking for projects that are like ongoing projects?
Throughout the course, you're going to strengthen that and create the actual structure to implement the project. So it's great if it's just an idea, because we'll give you the tools that you need to develop it and actually bring it to fruition.
And just to reiterate, this is 100% virtual. I don't need to be physically.
It's virtual. We're hoping for the final presentation. Obviously, we will support the students to do an in-person activation. And hopefully that will be for them to actually speak to some members in our group so that they can share what they're doing in the community. But also we'll have opportunities to have in-person activations throughout the year in each of the respective cities. So there is opportunity. I just don't want to say that too quickly in case COVID switches anything up.
Am I going to get to meet any celebrities?
Potentially. Potentially. That's why we're kind of launching in these 3 areas, because we have our executive council touch points in each of these cities. We are going to be inviting them to the final presentation. Obviously, if their schedule permits, they will be in attendance.
Awesome. And what is the time commitment for me to participate in this program?
So our workshops kind of vary. The first initial workshop is like a 2-day training. So that's the only intensive, but the other workshops will be like 3 to 5 hours, and that's going to be on a monthly basis. So the kind of commitment outside of like how much you're spending in terms of your project can fluctuate, but in terms of the actual workshops that are required, it's to that kind of 3 to 5 hour basis on a monthly.
Do you think those will be scheduled during the work week or on weekends?
Probably most likely during the work week. We solidified partners. We're just trying to see which fellows are selected and also seeing what their availability is. Obviously, it's a small cohort. So if we see a lot more folks having flexibility during the weekdays, it's a small enough cohort that we can schedule for that.
Great. So once you have the cohort together, will you be polling them to figure out a good time, or will you be locking those workshop dates and times in advance?
So for some of them, the training, for example, will probably be locked in advance, but for the other smaller workshops, we'll be working with all of the fellows to schedule.
Awesome. Okay, that sounds totally doable. And then how much again is the stipend?
We're still figuring out the actual grant and the stipend numbers with our fiscal sponsor.
And are you expecting a detailed budget for the grant ask in terms of the project? Yeah.
Yep, that's going to be part of the workshop.
But does that need to be part of the application?
No, it does not.
Got it. So in the application, in your mind, what does a great application look like?
A great application is a student that already has made a commitment to their community. They know what areas they're really passionate about. They also have an affinity, a love of sport, and understanding the influence that that sector has on our greater community, and really wants to leverage their influence and their knowledge so that they can better their community and themselves.
Do you have examples in mind of projects that have been supported?
So this is our first cohort. So we're really looking to have a great cross section of ideas that are across our pillars. Obviously, you know, it depends on where a student lives, where a student, their own life experiences that inform how they think it's best to make an impact. So we also look for folks that are really committed to supporting communities of color per our motto, our mission. So yeah, somebody that has an understanding of some of these social injustices and already knows some of the ways that they want to create impact, but we're just taking it to the next level.
Got it. Some examples that come to my mind are things that involve sports and mentorship, for example, or like using sports to raise awareness about certain issues in the community that are really important, like nutrition, like mental health, and other stuff like that. So for students interested in applying, would that kind of be sort of a hint in terms of, what types of projects they should be thinking about?
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's going to be something that is at the cross section of some of those areas, but you know, a lot of the folks that sit on our executive council, our founding members, they do work that does not pertain to sports. They just use that as like a platform. So we're open to ideas, but that passion, if it kind of shines through in the application, that's what we're looking for.
Got it. And so finally, I guess what I was trying to pull out of you is like very specifically what you're looking for, just so that applicants can really get like a solid idea. But it sounds like you're open to
Yeah, and the
suggestions.
questions we have, like those questions are pretty targeted in our for the actual application. There are 3 questions per each section. So I think they are good guidelines, but like I said, you know, it really is kind of marrying their own work that they've done so far, what they're trying to do, and how they're connected to the sports world that we're gonna be looking at. So yes, there's flexibility there.
Awesome. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for joining us. We'll make sure to push this out and promote it and include all links and make sure that there's an email that students can address, questions to. And I think that's, we're good.